Spiritual awakening proof. How the chosen one collapses reality. The observer effect. If I told you that the chair you are sitting on right now does not actually exist when you look away from it, would you believe me? I know how that sounds. It sounds like madness. It sounds like a philosophical game, but I am not asking you to believe in magic. I am asking you to look at the hard science. For centuries, we believed that the world out there was solid. We believed that rocks were rocks, trees were trees, and that the universe was a giant machine that kept running whether we were watching it or not. We thought we were just insignificant little actors walking onto a stage that was already built. But what if I told you that the stage does not exist until the actor walks onto it? What if the road you were driving on is literally being paved second by second by your gaze? This is the secret that the ancient mystics guarded with their lives. And this is the secret that modern quantum physics has finally proven to be true. It is called the observer effect. If you are watching this video, you are not here by accident. You have been feeling it, haven't you? That strange sensation that reality is becoming fluid. You might have noticed that when you change your mood, the world around you shifts instantly. You might have noticed glitches in the matrix, synchronicities, repeating numbers like 1111, or thoughts manifesting into things faster than ever before. You are not imagining this. You are waking up to your true nature. You see, the chosen one is not a victim of reality. The chosen one is the architect of reality. You are not a person living in a material world. You are a consciousness creating a material world through the act of observation. But here is the danger. Most people are using this power unconsciously. They are observing their problems, and by observing them, they are freezing them in place. They wake up, they think about their debt, they look at their pain, and without knowing it, they are using the observer effect to command the universe to keep them trapped in that timeline. They are powerful creators who are creating a cage. In this session, we are going to dismantle that cage. We will walk through the most mind-bending experiment in human history. We will prove to your logical mind that matter is nothing but frozen light waiting for your command. And I will teach you how to use your attention, your measurement, to collapse new timelines of freedom, health, and abundance. But be warned, once you understand this mechanism, you can never go back to being a victim. You can never say, "Why is this happening to me?" again, because you will know with absolute scientific certainty that it is happening through you. Commitment. This knowledge carries a heavy responsibility. It requires you to take full ownership of your existence. It is powerful, and for the unawakened mind, it can be terrifying. So before I hand you this key, I need to know that you are ready to use it. I want you to pause for a second. Take a deep breath. Center yourself in this moment. If you are ready to accept that you are the creator of your reality, I want you to send a signal to the quantum field right now. Go to the comment section below and write 2 words, "I am ready." Do not just think it, write it. The act of writing is the first act of observation. It creates a physical anchor in the material world. It tells the universe that you are no longer asleep. Write "I am ready" now, and let us begin the experiment that broke reality.
Chapter 1: The Experiment That Broke Reality. To understand your power, we must go back to the moment when science lost its mind. The year was roughly 1801 when the journey began, but it wasn't until the modern quantum era that the terrifying truth was fully realized. It is known as the Double Slit Experiment. Imagine you have a wall with two vertical slits cut into it. Behind that wall, there is a back screen that detects where things land. Now, imagine you have a tennis ball launcher. You fire tennis balls at the wall. Some balls hit the wall and bounce back, but some balls go through the two slits. If you look at the back screen, what would you expect to see? You would expect to see two bands of marks corresponding to the two slits. Simple, right? Matter goes through a hole and hits the wall behind it in a straight line. This is how the solid world works. But scientists decided to try this with the building blocks of our reality: electrons, tiny particles of matter. They fired electrons at the two slits, but when they looked at the back screen, they did not see two bands. They saw an interference pattern. They saw many bands spreading out like ripples in a pond. This was impossible. Matter shouldn't behave like that. Only energy, only waves like water or sound behave like that. When a wave goes through two slits, it splits, ripples, interferes with itself, and creates a complex pattern. So the scientists were confused. They asked, is the electron a solid particle, or is it a wave of energy? So they decided to spy on it. They placed a measuring device, a sensor, a camera, a mechanical eye right next to the slits. They wanted to see which slit the electron actually went through. They wanted to catch it in the act. And this is the moment reality broke. The moment they turned on the measuring device, the moment they observed the electron, it stopped behaving like a wave. It stopped rippling. It stopped acting like energy. It suddenly behaved like a solid little marble. It went through one slit and hit the back screen in two boring, solid bands. The scientists were terrified. They turned the camera off. The electron went back to being a wave. It went back to creating the interference pattern. They turned the camera on. Snap! It became a particle again. Do you understand what this means? I need you to really let this sink in. The electron changed its behavior because it was being watched. When no one was looking, the electron was not a thing. It was a wave of infinite potential. It was everywhere at once. It was in the quantum field, existing in a state of pure possibility. It had not decided where to be. But the moment a conscious observer, or a measuring device representing a conscious observer, looked at it, the wave collapsed. It froze. It was forced to choose a location. It hardened into reality. This discovery shattered the foundation of materialism. It proved that the world out there is not independent of the observer in here. The atom is not a tiny solar system of hard matter. The atom is 99.99999% empty space. It is a cloud of probability, and that cloud only becomes a solid chair, a solid house, or a solid bank account when a consciousness looks at it and expects it to be there. You are not walking through a solid world. You are walking through a liquid ocean of energy that instantly freezes into ice wherever you place your foot. And the moment you lift your foot, the ice melts back to water behind you. This is the physics of the chosen one. You have spent your life thinking you were small, thinking you had to work hard to move the solid objects of the world. But the double slit experiment proves that there are no solid objects to move. There is only energy waiting for your eye to give it form.
Chapter 2. Measurement is attention. So, how do we apply this to your life? How do we take a physics experiment and use it to change your bank balance, your health, or your relationships? We must redefine the word measurement. In the laboratory, measurement is done with a sensor. In your life, measurement is done with your attention. Your attention is not just a passive way of gathering information. Attention is an active stream of energy. It is a laser beam that collapses the wave function. Where attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, matter forms. Think of your attention as the camera in the double slit experiment. Whatever you focus your camera on stops being a wave of possibility and becomes a solid particle of reality. It becomes your life. Most people are sloppy with their cameras. They let their camera swing wildly around the room, focusing on everything they hate. They focus on the pain in their back. Oh, it hurts, they say. They measure the pain. They give it attention. And by observing the pain, they collapse the quantum wave of their body into a state of injury. They freeze the pain in place. They focus on their empty bank account. They check the app 5 times a day. They stare at the low number. They measure the lack. And by measuring the lack, they compel the quantum field to freeze into a reality of poverty. The universe has no choice. Remember, the universe is the mirror. If you stare at lack, the universe says, okay, the observer is looking at lack, I must materialize lack. You are trapping yourself in a timeline of suffering simply because you cannot look away from the suffering. The visual experiment. I want to prove this to you right now. I want you to feel the weight of your own attention. We're going to do a small experiment together. It is safe, it is simple, but it is profound. I want you to pick one object in the room you are currently in. It can be a cup, a book, or even your own hand. Find it now. Okay, now I want you to stare at it. Lock your eyes on it. Give it 100% of your attention. Notice its color. Notice its texture. Notice its shape. Don't think about it. Just observe it. Pour your energy into it. Do you feel that? Do you feel how the object seems to become more heavy? How it seems to become more real, more present, more defined? It almost feels like the rest of the room has faded away and only this object exists. Because in your universe right now, only that object does exist. You are feeding it with your life force. You are holding it in existence with your gaze. Now, I want you to close your eyes. Do it now. Close them. In the darkness behind your eyelids, that object has disappeared. I don't mean that it is just hidden. In the quantum realm, because you have withdrawn your observation, that object has begun to dissolve back into a wave of probability. Its atoms are no longer being held together by your conscious intent. It is returning to the soup of potential. Now, open your eyes. There it is again. You brought it back. You summoned it from the void. This is what you are doing every single second of every single day. You are walking through a void of nothingness, and with every glance, every thought,
And every emotion, you are pulling things out of the void and making them solid. The tragedy of the unawakened human is not that they are powerless, it is that they are powerful creators who are addicted to observing their own nightmares. They wake up and immediately measure their stress, they measure their loneliness, they measure their age, and then they wonder why their life never changes. It never changes because they never stop looking at the old version of it. To build a new future, you must learn the art of looking at things that are not there yet. You must learn to observe the invisible.
Chapter 3: The Time Loop Trap. Now that you understand that your attention freezes energy into matter, we must confront a painful truth. We must look at why your life looks exactly the same today as it did yesterday. Most people think they are living a linear life. They think they are moving forward from the past into the future. But from a quantum perspective, 99% of humanity is not moving forward. They are looping. They are trapped in a time loop. Let's analyze the biology of your morning. You wake up. Your conscious mind comes back online. What is the very first thing you do? For most people, they reach for their phone. They check the news. They check social media. They check their messages. But on an energetic level, something far more dangerous is happening. The moment you wake up, your brain starts searching for a feeling that is familiar. It searches for you. And where does it find you? In the past. You immediately remember your problems. You remember that your back hurts. You remember that you hate your job. You remember that you are lonely. You remember the argument you had yesterday. In that split second, you have just retrieved your past and loaded it into your present. You have observed your old self. And because the quantum field responds to observation, the moment you focus on those old problems, you collapse the wave function of your day into the exact same shape as yesterday. You have just commanded the universe, give me more of the same. You get out of bed and you do the same things. You drink the same coffee from the same mug. You drive the same road to the same building. You see the same people and press the same buttons. You are thinking the same thoughts, which trigger the same emotions. And because your emotions are the magnetic charge that draws reality to you, you draw the same experiences to you. By the time you go to bed, you haven't lived a new day. You have relived yesterday. You are not a creator. You are a recorder, playing back an old tape. This is the time loop trap. The trap is not the world out there. The trap is your observation in here. You are waiting for your life to change before you feel good. You say, when I get the money, then I will stop worrying. When I find love, then I will feel happy. But the observer effect says this is physically impossible. You are looking at the mirror of reality and waiting for the reflection to smile first. It will never happen. You must break the mirror's logic. You must smile first. To escape the time loop, you must wake up and refuse to observe the past. You must wake up and for the first hour of the day, become a ghost. Be no one. Have no history. Refuse to check the phone. Refuse to think about the problems. Instead, observe the future. Observe the version of you who is already free. Journaling release. I want to help you break this loop right now. We are going to do a digital ritual of release. I want you to be honest with yourself. When you woke up this morning, what was the first low vibration thought that hijacked your mind? Was it anxiety about money? Was it sadness about a person?
Was it just a heavy feeling of, here we go again? Do not let that thought hide in the shadows. When you hide it, you feed it. I want you to pull it out and kill it with the light of your awareness. Go to the comments right now. I want you to write this sentence. I release the worry about, and fill in the blank. I release the worry about my debt. I release the worry about my ex. I release the worry about not being good enough. Write it down. By writing it, you are observing it objectively, not subjectively. You are separating yourself from it. You are telling the quantum field, this thought is no longer me. I am observing it, and I am letting it go. Do it now. Clear the cache of your mind.
Chapter 4: The Flashlight Analogy. Now that we have cleared the old observation, how do we find the new one? Many people struggle with manifestation because they think they have to create something out of nothing. They think they have to build wealth from scratch or build health from sickness. This feels like hard work. It feels exhausting. But quantum physics offers us a much easier model. It is called the many worlds interpretation. It suggests that you do not need to create anything because everything already exists. Imagine the quantum field is a gigantic, infinite warehouse. It is pitch black. You cannot see the walls. Inside this warehouse, everything that could possibly exist already exists. There is a version of you who is bankrupt. It's sitting in the corner. There is a version of you who is a millionaire. It's standing right next to it. There is a version of you who is sick, and a version of you who is healed. There is a version of you who is alone, and a version of you who is happily married. They are all there, right now, frozen in the dark as potential. They are sleeping. Now imagine that your attention is a powerful flashlight. You are standing in the middle of this warehouse with your flashlight. Wherever you point the beam of your light, that thing wakes up. It becomes visible. It becomes real. It becomes your life. The problem with your life is not that the wealthy you doesn't exist. The problem is that you keep pointing your flashlight at the poor you. You are obsessed with the broken chair in the corner. You stare at it. You analyze it. You complain about it. You tell your friends about it. Look at this broken chair. It's so terrible. And because your light is shining on it, the broken chair remains the only reality you can see. Meanwhile, just 3 feet to the left, in the dark, sits a golden throne. It is waiting for you. It has your name on it. But because you never swing your flashlight to the left, the golden throne remains invisible. It remains a ghost. This is the power of the chosen one. You realize that you are the holder of the flashlight. You stop asking, how do I create wealth? And you start asking, where am I pointing my light? Manifestation is simply the act of moving your beam. It requires discipline because the broken chair, your current 3D reality, is loud. It screams for your attention. The bills scream. The pain screams. The news screams. They are begging you, look at me, keep me alive with your light. You must develop the will of a warrior. You must ignore the screaming of the 3D world. You must hold your flashlight steady on the darkness, on the empty space where you want your reality to be. At first, you see nothing. It looks fake. It looks like fantasy. But you hold the light. You sustain the observation. And slowly, out of the darkness, the particles begin to gather in the beam. The golden throne begins to shimmer. It begins to solidify.
and suddenly it is not a fantasy anymore. It is your chair. Stop trying to fix the old reality. You cannot fix the darkness. You can only shine the light somewhere else.
Chapter 5. Objective versus conscious observation. This brings us to the biggest mistake that keeps people trapped in the matrix. It is the difference between objective observation and conscious observation. We are taught from childhood to be realistic. We are taught to tell it like it is. If you are sick, you say, "I am sick." If you are broke, you say, "I am broke." We call this being honest. We call this being a realist. But in the quantum realm, being a realist is the most dangerous thing you can be. Because when you tell it like it is, you are simply observing the past. You are reporting on the old timeline. And as we know, observing the old timeline anchors it in place. A realist is just a person who is addicted to the present moment's limitations. They act like a news reporter. A reporter just stands there and describes what is happening. They have no power. They are passive. The chosen one is not a reporter. You are a director. A movie director does not look at the set and say, "Oh no, it's raining. I guess we have a sad movie." No. The director yells, "Cut! I don't want rain. Bring in the rain machines, or wait for the sun. Change the lighting. Change the script." The director imposes their vision onto the set. They do not accept the set as final authority. This is conscious observation. Conscious observation means you stop reporting the news of your life and you start making the news. It means you look at your empty bank account and instead of saying, "I am broke," objective observation, you say, "I am in a temporary transition to abundance," conscious observation. You look at the illness and instead of saying, "I am dying," you say, "My body is purging density to heal." This drives the logical mind crazy. The logical mind says, "You are lying, you are in denial." But you are not lying. You are selecting a different probability from the quantum warehouse. You are choosing to observe the golden throne in the dark, even while sitting on the broken chair. This is the art of faith. The Bible defines faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Notice the physics in that sentence. Faith is a substance. It is real. It is evidence. When you hold conscious observation, you are creating a new substance in the ether. You are overruling the 3D evidence with 5D evidence. Do not let the world tell you to be realistic. The world is built by people who were realistic, and look at the mess they made. The world is changed by the people who were delusional enough to observe a reality that didn't exist yet until they made it exist. Be delusional. Be unreasonable. Be the director. Chapter 6. The Secret Engine, Emotion. We have talked about attention. We have talked about the flashlight. But there is one missing piece. If you just think about your desire, if you just visualize it with your brain, nothing will happen. You can stare at the golden throne all day with your mind, but if your heart is frozen in fear, the throne will never move toward you. Why? Because in the physics of creation, thought is electrical, emotion is magnetic. Your brain sends the signal out. It is the antenna that reaches into the warehouse and locates the potential. I want that. But your heart is the magnet that draws the potential to you.
Think of it like this. Your thought is the address on the GPS, but your emotion is the gas in the car. You can have the perfect address programmed in, perfect visualization, but if you have no gas, no elevated emotion, the car isn't going anywhere. This is where Dr. Joe Dispenza's work becomes critical for the chosen one. He teaches us that to collapse reality, we must combine a clear intention, brain, with an elevated emotion, heart. When you combine them, you create an electromagnetic signature. You become a literal magnet. But here is the trick. You cannot wait for the manifestation to arrive before you feel the emotion. If you say, "I will feel grateful when the money comes," you are doing it backwards. That is the Newtonian model of cause and effect. The quantum model is cause and effect. You must feel the gratitude now. You must feel the excitement now. You must feel the love now. When you feel the emotion of the future before it happens, your body, which is the unconscious mind, does not know the difference. It thinks the event is happening right now. And because your body thinks it's happening, it changes your vibration. It uncoils your DNA. It sends out a massive magnetic pulse into the field, and the field, detecting this signature, must match it. It pulls the future event into the present moment to align with your feeling.
Heart-brain coherence. This is the secret engine, and I want to show you how to turn it on. You don't need to be a monk to do this. You have the technology inside your chest right now. I want you to do this with me. Take your right hand and place it over the center of your chest, over your heart space. Feel the warmth of your palm against your body. This simple touch shifts your awareness from your head, thinking, worrying, to your heart, feeling, being. Now I want you to take a slow breath in, but imagine you are breathing through your heart. Imagine the air is flowing directly in and out of your chest. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep breathing like that. Now, as you breathe, I want you to summon a feeling, not a thought, a feeling. Think of something or someone that you truly love, a pet, a child, a beautiful sunset, a memory of pure joy. Don't analyze it, just feel the gratitude for it. Feel that warmth spreading in your chest. Feel a slight smile forming on your face. That feeling, that warmth, that is magnetic energy. Right now, scientists have measured that the magnetic field of your heart is expanding up to 3 meters around your body. You are glowing in the invisible spectrum. You are online. This is the state of coherence. When you are in this state, you are no longer a victim. You are a powerful broadcast tower. Whatever intention you drop into this field grows. Memorize this feeling. This is the fuel for your flashlight. Whenever you feel yourself slipping back into the time loop, back into the fear, stop. Hand on heart, breathe. Activate the magnet. You are not just thinking your reality into existence, you are loving it into existence. Chapter 7.
The silent observer practice. Now that we have ignited the engine of the heart, we must learn how to steer the ship. We must learn the ultimate skill of the awakened consciousness, the ability to detach. You see, most people try to change their reality while they are still inside their reality. They try to fix their problems while they are drowning in the emotion of the problem. This is like trying to push a car while you are sitting in the driver's seat. You cannot move the object if you are the object. To collapse a new timeline, you must step outside of the timeline. You must become the silent observer. In the ancient traditions, this is called the witness consciousness. In quantum mechanics, this is the position of the scientist looking through the glass. When you are the silent observer, you are no longer John or Mary. You are no longer the person with the debt, the illness, or the heartbreak. You are simply the awareness that is watching those things. This state is crucial because it breaks the emotional addiction to the past. When you observe your life without judgment, you stop feeding energy to the old story. You stop measuring the old reality. And when you stop measuring it, it loses its grip on you. It begins to dissolve. I want to guide you into this state right now. This is a short practice of quantum detachment. You can do this with your eyes open or closed, but I invite you to close them to shut out the visual noise of the 3D world. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine you are stepping backward out of your physical body. Imagine you are floating just a few feet behind your head. From this vantage point, look at yourself. See your body sitting there. See the shoulders rising and falling with the breath. See the clothes you are wearing. See the room around you. But realize you are not that body. You are the invisible presence watching the body. You are the consciousness that exists beyond the form. Now, imagine you can zoom out further. Float up to the ceiling. Look down at the room. See that person sitting in the chair. That person has a name. That person has a story. That person has problems. But up here, in the silence, you have no name. You have no story. You have no problems. You are just pure, spacious awareness. From this height, look at the problems of that person down there. Look at their worry about money. See it as a dark cloud floating around their head. Look at their fear of the future. See it as a knot in their stomach. But do not judge it. Do not try to fix it. Just observe it. Say to yourself, I see the worry, but I am not the worry. I see the fear, but I am not the fear. Do you feel the relief? Do you feel the lightness? This is the space of 0 point. This is the vacuum. In this space, you have disconnected your energy from the old timeline. You have stopped measuring the past. And in this silence, you are finally free to choose a new future. Stay in this detachment. Feel the peace of being nobody. Feel the power of being nothing. Because only when you are nothing can you become anything. This is where the magic happens. This is where the wave function collapses. You are now standing in the center of the quantum warehouse, flashlight in hand, ready to choose.
Chapter 8: Collapsing the New Timeline. You are now in the seat of power. The old timeline has been paused. The screen is blank. The director is ready to call action on a new scene. This is the final step. This is collapsing the new timeline. Many people make a mistake here. They try to force the new reality. They strain their brain trying to visualize every single detail. They try to figure out how it will happen. How will I get the money? How will I meet the person? But the how is not your job. The how belongs to the quantum field. Your job is the what and the who. You must select the timeline you want to experience, and you must observe it with such intensity, such clarity, and such love that the universe has no choice but to harden it into matter. I want you to think of one thing you are ready to manifest. Just one. Do not scatter your light. Is it a healed body? Is it a bank account overflowing with abundance? Is it a soulful, romantic partnership? Pick it now. Now, with your eyes still closed or soft focus, I want you to construct a scene, a short 3-second scene that implies it is already done. If it is wealth, imagine checking your phone and seeing a specific number in your bank app. If it is health, imagine running on a beach, feeling your lungs fill with air, feeling your legs strong and pain-free. If it is love, imagine a hand holding yours and you looking at a ring on your finger. Hold that image. Shine your flashlight on it. Make it brighter. Turn up the color. Make it HD. Hear the sounds. What does the ocean sound like? What does your partner's voice sound like? Smell the air. Is it salty? Is it fresh? Now, bring in the magnet. Bring in the heart. How does it feel to be that person? Do not feel wanting. Wanting means you don't have it. Feel relief. Feel the massive weight lifting off your shoulders. Thank God it's finally here. Feel the joy. Feel the gratitude. Let that emotion explode in your chest. Let it bring tears to your eyes.
The declaration. Stay in that energy. Do not open your eyes yet. You are literally collapsing the wave function right now. You are rearranging the atoms of your future. You are merging with that version of yourself. You are no longer observing it from a distance. You are embodying it. You are the healthy person. You are the wealthy person. You are the loved person. Now, we are going to seal this timeline. We are going to lock it in with a physical command. I want you to open your eyes. Come back to the room, but bring that new frequency with you. Don't leave it in the meditation. Wear it like a new coat. We are going to make a declaration. In the quantum law, a declaration is a binding contract. I want you to go to the comments one last time, but this time, do not write "I want." Do not write "I hope." Write in the present tense. Write as if it has already happened. Write, "I am observing my timeline of abundance, health, love." Or simply, "It is done." Write it with conviction. Write it with power. When you press post, imagine you are stamping a wax seal on a royal decree. You have spoken, the universe has heard, and the physics of reality have begun to shift to meet your command.
The Bridge to 1111. You have done the work. You have understood the science. You have activated the heart. and you have collapsed the timeline. Now, you must do the hardest thing of all. You must trust. You must get up from this video and walk into your life, but do not look for the evidence with your physical eyes immediately. Remember, the mirror takes time to reflect the new smile. There is a buffer of time in the 3D world. Do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Trust that the observation has been registered. But the matrix will begin to speak to you. As your frequency shifts, as you begin to walk in this new timeline, you will start to see glitches in the simulation. The universe will send you receipts to confirm that the order has been processed. The most common language the universe uses is numbers. You will start to see them everywhere, on clocks, on license plates, on receipts, on phone numbers. 1111, 222, 333, 444. These are not coincidences. These are confirmation codes. Seeing 1111 is the universe's way of saying, "Attention observer, your timeline is syncing. You are aligned." Seeing 222 is the universe saying, "Trust the process. Seeds are growing." If you have been seeing these numbers recently, or if you start seeing them after watching this video, do not ignore them. They are the breadcrumbs leading you to the golden throne. But what do they specifically mean? How do you read this secret code of the Chosen One? I have prepared a special transmission to decode this language for you. It is the next step in your mastery. Click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now, because in the next video, we are going to decode the secret language of the universe. I will show you exactly what to do when you see 1111 to speed up your manifestation. You do not want to miss that signal. If the video is already available, you will see it on your screen now. Click it. Follow the numbers. The rabbit hole goes deeper. And remember, you are the observer. You are the creator. I am watching you rise.